week or two. The NRM leaders present and fellow cadres mentioned, I'm humbled and extremely happy for having been chosen today to discuss, share, add knowledge, and build cadres. I'm honored to see you, member of SEC and my colleague. I'm humbled to discuss, share, add knowledge, and build, empower, and equip cadres. This is very, very important. And I'm happy that Mr. Mlindwa, you mentioned that these people present are mainly the youth, because this is what we did many years ago. We trained the youth, and I was part of the youth. So I'm here now, equipping you so that you know how to handle the future. Fellow Ugandans watching and listening, allow me to share with you about the journey to peace and freedom we are enjoying now, and use this opportunity to share with all Ugandans that whatever we see take place today lies in the hands of the 45 million people of Uganda. The peace we enjoy comes from somewhere. Peace as a cornerstone in building a nation based on foundations of good leadership. It does not come from nowhere, but from a well-defined base with a lot of people concerned. The journey of peace Ugandans have enjoyed for the last 37 years now is not by mere calculations of years, but to remind us that there are men and women who offered their lives right away from the beginning of the liberation struggles. Ugandans, we need to thank our brothers and sisters who surely looked at their lives as nothing compared to the sufferings we were going through right from the years of the 1960s. The struggle to liberate Uganda started with few individuals in the years of the 1960s, and others came to appreciate the idea in the years of the 1970s when Idi Amin was here as president, killing the old and the young. Led by Mr. YK Museveni, who had actually initiated the idea of the liberation struggle, we started establishing firm foundations to ensure Ugandans are liberated from the hands of bad rulers. Under the umbrella of RONASA, we did everything possible to see that the bad leaders are removed from power. Uganda spent 8 flat years of turmoil and tyranny, while dictators were being seen laughing as Ugandans were dying. Together with the Rtd People Defense Forces, TPDF, we worked day and night until we saw Idi Amin and his men fleeing this country in 1979. After defeating Idi Amin with his men, I saw a number of presidents with whom some ruled for 2 months and others 1 year. The above trend clearly indicated the peace we were expecting was not yet achieved. Hence, the struggle had to continue. Having seen a few years with the number of presidents coming today and going tomorrow, we found ourselves in the second regime of Dr. Bote and the party of UPC at the beginning of the 1980s. For those who were present at that time, we experienced times of hardships to a point of people regretting being Ugandans. As people who had a long-term vision, we never agreed to what was going on, hence deciding to continue with the liberation struggle. On the 6th of February 1981, still under the leadership of Mr. YK Museveni, who tested on the bad leadership as a Minister of Defense and was chairman of the military council in the government of 1979 to 1980. You will remember that at one time he was arrested at a roadblock in Chireka. Imagine a leader, a minister of defense, and a vice chairman of the committee ruling that time being arrested by soldiers at the roadblock. So that's the test we're talking about, and many others. We found ourselves in the jungles of Ruwero Triangle, staging the first ever guerrilla warfare a few kilometers from the center of Kampala. The liberation struggle that lasted 5 years was not an easy one, but something that needed total commitment and self-denial. We never looked aside or back, but kept focused until we saw ourselves back in Kampala in 1986. The major point I'm trying to bring out here is that peace, freedom, democracy, and development Ugandans are enjoying today is the result of some few individuals dying for the redemption of many Ugandans. The big question, which is connected to this discipline and methods of work, is why did the NRM succeed? The answer largely lies in the aspects of the following: commitment to the just cause, clear leadership, correct ideology, correct revolutionary and patriotic methods of work, and above all, discipline. NRM is anti-sectarianism, anti-suppression, and anti-marginalization. A correct line in politics, democracy, and good governance, nationalism, patriotism, and Pan-Africanism. A correct military line, a pro-people army, protecting people and their properties. I believe that you all are witnesses of the mighty and most popular UPDF, that it has really fulfilled being a pro-people army that has protected our Ugandans and their properties. This is very, very clear testimony, and you are all witness to that. Then a correct organizational line, a clear program of action in politics, social sector, and a mixed private sector-led economy that is self-sustaining, independent, integrated national economy. Now, bad leaders create bad systems, just as Hitler did, while good ones like the late Mwalimu Julius Nyerere created a good system in Tanzania. So these good leaders create and strong institutions that live and stand the test of time. Therefore, NRM should strive, and indeed we are striving to build such a system that will stand the test of time. Therefore, the successive victories that NRM registered, as well as the confidence it has won from the citizenry over the years, is largely a manifestation of its good foundational tenets, well thought out and pursued by the leader. Talking about revolutionary methods of work, these revolutionary methods of work help any cadre, any leader to internalize and understand how to overcome challenges. The challenges may not be the same today, 37 years after NRM capture of power. We had different challenges at that time in the bush, and today we face different challenges. So it is upon you to study these revolutionary methods of work and see how you can apply them to solve the current challenges. The methods of work during the Bush War were aimed at countering the organizational challenges of the guerrilla movement. However, the methods of work we used to have enduring aspects that are useful solving some of the problems we face today as a party. But before that, let us understand, define the concept of revolutionary methods of work. Patriots should be able to inspire and empower their communities, develop their productive capacities in order to transform their lives. It is therefore important for anyone hoping to fundamentally change the society to know that the development of society is not accidental, but is inevitable. However, the role of the leaders is to know what causes society to move forward or remain stagnant. All along, the success of NRM has been due to its leaders adhering to tested, revolutionary, patriotic discipline and methods of work. What is revolutionary, patriotic discipline and methods of work? Because this is the core of our discussion today. This refers to behavior shaped by norms, values, with the ability to exercise self-control and unwavering commitment to the cause. These are acquired through deliberate learning and training of one's mind and body. A disciplined patriot has a mastery of the broader societal objectives at any point in history. Therefore, members, leaders of NRM, I'm very happy and I was excited when I heard that you have started these clinics, because there is no other way of equipping these people to understand how to face these challenges of society. Such understanding enables a patriot to serve society above self and avoid egoism and selfish behavior. In NRM's context, patriotic discipline is important for the success of the struggle for political and socio-economic transformation. A good example from the Bible is of Jesus, who trained the 12 disciples as the core Christian pioneers who helped propagate the new Christian faith, ensuring that it spread all over the world. The disciples first mastered the ideas, principles, and values of Christianity. Even when it meant that some of them lost their lives, the roots of their commitments are self-evident. Likewise, the initial nucleus of students who organized in the University of Dar es Salaam under YK Museveni, now our leader, later gave birth to NRA/NRM. These initial cadres were trained to cherish discipline and the revolutionary methods of work, on top of pursuing a correct political and military line. Political discipline is seen and exhibited in the character and behavior of an individual. It is not merely a title or label that you give yourself. I want to share with you, there is an attachment to this presentation. On the 26th of March, 1982, our leader, Yoweri Museveni, in Ruta camp, launched the first political school and the first political education. There is a book here. This book is known as Mission to Freedom. And in your library, I think you should have a copy of this book. This book was compiled by many people who are in external service in Nairobi, in Kenya. And the leader of that was late Bakuru Mpaji. Some of you may know him. In this book, when we were in the bush, we had to read and study and write. And the leader of this was our president, our chairman of High Command at that time. So in this book, you'll find all the articles that we wrote when we were in the bush. And they were being sent to Nairobi and published for everybody to read. So in this document, you'll see, at that time, in 1982, I, Col Fred Mwesigye, speaking before you, authored this paper At that time, it was the role of cadres and revolution discipline by Commander Fred Mwesigye. That time, but now it has been improved day by day, and it includes all this, what I'm talking about. But you can see that we started long ago to read, study, and internalize situations. And I'm happy to be sharing with you. Now, what are the elements of patriotic discipline? A patriot must have the following tested qualities: respect of oneself, others, and of lawful authority. A quality of respect starts with oneself, then for others in society and the entire humanity. Respect means polite behavior towards others and caring for them as being important. A high level of consciousness. A patriot must be highly conscious and vigilant about situations that he or she can be able to follow and understand the general trends of events around him or her. In order to be able to correctly appreciate situations, leaders need to know answers to these questions: what, when, where, who, why, and how. The above questions, if answered without bias and wishful thinking, will always enable a leader to correctly understand and explain all things that occur. Don't allow personal opinions or biases to influence your interpretation. Always call a spade a spade. Leaders should not be surprised when faced with challenges, because their work is actually to understand such challenges and provide solutions. This calls for continuous study. A leader should be a lifetime student, always seeking for more knowledge. And I challenge you, you young people here, this is very, very important. A leader should be a lifetime student, always seeking for more knowledge. When we came out of the bush, sir, I went back to school. When we came out of the bush, we built the army, we built the government, and in 1999, an old person, I went back to university. I first did Machua, then I went to university, Makerere University, did BBA, then went for masters, and I continued to read. If you come to my house, I have a big library like this room. So it is a big challenge to all of you. In your struggles to survive, you must find time to read continuously so that you get knowledge and equip yourself on how to face the challenges. Love and constant search for knowledge. This can be achieved through continuous reading and regular training, like what you are doing now. It should be regular and should be continuous. Constant ideological guidance, like what we are doing now, enable the patriot to avoid tendencies that may be injurious to himself or herself and the community and the country as a whole. Being knowledgeable entails striving to respect studying and acquiring all-round information. Little knowledge is dangerous. A patriot should constantly study society in order to understand its dynamics. He or she should learn from others. He or she lives with or works with both superiors and subordinates. Self-control. This involves time management, respect for authority, obeying regulations, controlling one's weaknesses such as alcoholism, promiscuity, and worship of money. Self-sacrifice and selfless, being able to set aside what would be in one's individual interest for the sake of the common good. Being trustworthy, a patriotic leader should be a person in whom others have confidence. He or she does not cheat, steal, or bribe. He or she is incorruptible and trustful. Practice democratic culture of patience, listening and tolerating different decisions or ideas, respecting majority decisions, using right forum, accountability, openness, transparency, and humility. frugality and modesty, avoiding extravagance and lavish spending, a quality of being judicious, careful and sensible, showing good judgment and being down to earth. Cadres, you are supposed to commit suicide and go and be like those masses whom we deal with every day. But if you want to keep yourself aloof, then you'll never know, you'll never commit, you'll never convince them to follow you or to follow your ideas. A patriotic leader strives to live within all her means, avoiding extravagance and adjusting when need arises. The exercise of modesty enables one to avoid corrupt tendencies, being God-fearing, being exemplary. A patriot is one who shows others the way. He's a torch-bearer. He or she is a constant source of inspiration to others. Revolutionary sense of shame. This is feeling ashamed of one's own mistakes. One feels guilt, sadness, embarrassment upon doing something wrong or stupid. It is a quality of being able to stop and ask oneself whether what you are doing is right or not. Being conscious of impression one gives society. This is very important, comrades. Today, most of the things are going wrong because people have lost this virtue of sense of shame. The way people mishandle government assets, the way people handle even road signs, you find them being mistreated, mishandled, got the furniture in offices that should last 50 years, mismanaged, government trucks, or even here. So, if you have that sense of shame, then you'll control yourself, not to look at everything as your own, not others. So you don't care about them. You don't care about the government assets, government property. So it is very, very important, this one, and you should strive to be conscious of that. Tendencies that should be avoided. This is behavior that is injurious to common good of our country and the party. It is any plan, action, or inaction that undermines the interests of the country, community, or an individual. Subversion can be active or passive. It is an attempt to divert the thinking of others from a common objective or vision in order to mislead and derail others. And there are many people in society like that. Tribalism and other forms of sectarianism. Even in the Bible, sectarianism is a sin. Sectarianism is strong support for one particular group, especially when it leads to violence between different ethnic and religious groups. Uganda had a bigger share of this tribalism. From the time communism up to date, tribalism has failed to move, to go away. Cheap popularity. This is when a person looks for personal favor, popularity, or admiration through blindfolding and hoodwinking others. Liberalism. This is when a person in authority knows who is right, what is wrong, but due to weakness in his or her leadership, he or she does not stand firm on the side of what is right. Avoidance of action against wrongdoers. It's very dangerous for leaders to have that tendency. Intrigue and double talk. Some elements feed wrong information to others in order to cause confusion. It's very common. Even here in Uganda, even here in NRM. Such a person is usually tell different stories to different people about the same event and insist that what they are telling the respective parties should be treated with high confidentiality. Intrigue manifests in belittling others, whispering behind people's back, plotting and counter-plotting against fellow comrades. Intrigue detracts people from their set objectives. Formation of cliques. These are selfish groups who promote private interest to the detriment of the general organizational or national good. They are formed around erroneous positions pushed by certain shallow, selfish, and narrow interests. Love of soft life. Indulgence in easy life, in most cases beyond one's means. Such a lifestyle leads to corruption, negligence of duty, thus undermining common good or national interests. Corruption. People are extremely subversive because their behavior disrupts national programs. They can be blackmailed by people with bad political motives and can be bought and used by the enemy. Corruption is also a disincentive to investment and growth. You know what is happening in our society today. Opportunism. This entails exploiting every chance or situation for personal gain while sacrificing the interests of the majority. An opportunist uses situations to gain unfair advantage for himself without thinking about how his actions or his action will affect other people. Excessive ambition. This is the desire for success at all costs. It is negative and subversive. Such a person overrates oneself and will use any method to attain all his desired goals. While ambition is important, overambition can be disruptive. Dictatorial tendencies and fear of criticism. This is a lack of tolerance for other people's views and opinions. It is the unwillingness to accept criticism, denial of free expression of views, e.g. no regular meetings. It gives room for rumor mongering, subterranean grumbling, and conspiracies, hence undermining popular participation. Cynicism. This is the tendency of seeing little or no good in anything and everything. It manifests in unkind and fair remarks. It demoralizes others and kills confidence in others. Cynics believe that nothing important or good can happen and promotes anarchy. Cynicism is the biggest sin of lack of patriotism. Despising political education, or what we call siasa in the bush. Glorification of ignorance, making it seem like ignorance is a good thing. A person who praises ignorance may be personally ignorant and does not want others to get informed. He or she pretends to be knowledgeable, whereas not. Stifling talents, killing or failing to advance people's talents. That's why NRM, in its corporate plan, emphasizes identification, training, placement, and rotation of cadres. The above subversive tendencies should be avoided and corrected through political, ideological education, emphasizing discipline and patriotic methods of work. The NRM has always used corrective methods which include open discussion through meetings and barazas, open and constructive criticism, publicly exposing one's subversive tendencies. NRM only resorts to punitive measures as a last resort when one has become incorrigible. However, the NRM emphasizes conscious discipline, which is ideologically based as opposed to mechanical discipline. We prefer the policeman of the mind rather than the policeman of the body. In conclusion, any growing political organization needs to instill a high level of discipline in order to ensure cohesion. Therefore, the NRM must end the indiscipline among its cadres. We have achieved democracy. However, some people want to turn our democracy into anarchy using populism. This is injurious and dangerous because it causes chaos and can create crisis. Thank you for listening to me, and God bless you.